There was an inquiry by Vidura. Vidura was inquiring about time. Kindly describe eternal time, which is another form of the Supreme Lord, the wonderful actor. What are the symptoms of that eternal time? Please describe them to us in detail. So now in detail, Maitreya is going to explain to Vidura what is this eternal time. So first point he says, eternal time is the primeval source of the interactions of the three modes of material nature. Material nature, Prakriti, is not only consisting of elements, bhumirapo nalo vayu khammano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakriti rashtadha. 8 elements is what material nature is made of. That's what the Bhagavad Gita says in the 7th chapter. But material nature also consists of 3 gunas. Sattvam rajastama iti guna prakriti sambhavaha. These gunas we cannot easily make out. Elements you can make out. Material nature is made up of elements that are not difficult to understand. But material nature consists of 3 gunas. This is very difficult to understand. But here is a clue how to understand these 3 gunas. The gunas are like a force acting on the elements. We see changes happening everywhere around us. Matter is changing. Material objects are changing. So even our own body, material body is changing. So this change is brought about by the gunas, by material nature acting as gunas on the elements. These gunas are acting or interacting, producing changes according to kala, time. Just like our body, we can make out the changes are happening with respect to time. Like childhood, youth, old age. The body is becoming old with respect to time. We always speak in terms of time, isn't it? We speak of the age of the person. So time can be understood in this way. It is the source for the interaction of the gunas. Now time is, eternal time is without beginning, without end. Though we think of time as having some definite beginning and end. But actually that is relative to our body. We always think in terms of our life, our body, our existence. But you see from the perspective of Vishnu, there is one form of Vishnu called Mahavishnu. He is incarnating in this material world when there is a need for creation. So at the beginning of the creation, first of all, Vishnu appears in this material world. Where does he appear? In one ocean, which is called Karana Ocean. And he lies down on that Karana Ocean, and then he breathes out universes. He breathes, and so many universes come out of his body. In the seed form, the universes come out. Further, the universes develop. Now, how do the universes develop? Because Mahavishnu glances on material energy, and that energy becomes agitated. So that agitation of the energy produces the 3 gunas and another substance called Mahatattva. That Mahatattva will further be differentiated into the elements. Earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, ego, everything will come. So, the creation begins with Mahavishnu. Though sometimes people think creation begins with Brahma. No, not with Brahma, with Mahavishnu. Then Mahavishnu expands into each universe as another Vishnu, second Vishnu form. Padmanabha, that Vishnu from whose navel one lotus is growing. Second Vishnu form. He is present in each universe, every universe. He enters into the seed-like universe and then it begins to develop. The universe begins to develop. So that universe becomes a very, very big egg-shaped universe, Anda. It's called Brahmanda. That egg-shaped universe in which Brahma is actually situated as the topmost created being. Brahma is created by the second Vishnu. And that created creature called Brahma, he is the topmost person, created being. And Brahma does the further creation in the universe, populating the universe. So, time is actually simply the breathing of Mahavishnu. You can consider breathing of Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu breathes out universes and the universes remain only as long as Mahavishnu is not breathing inside. He takes back, inhales, everything is destroyed and it goes back into his body. All the living beings and all the material things, everything goes back into his body. So, the universe duration is, or Brahma's life is as long as one breath of Mahavishnu. So, what is the reference for time? The breathing of Mahavishnu. Now, after Mahavishnu breathes inside, inhales everything, everything is destroyed, goes inside the body of Mahavishnu, then Mahavishnu himself, he disappears. Mahavishnu disappears. Then what happens to all the material energy? Material energy, ultimately matter becomes material energy. And the living entities are present as spirit soul. So what happens to them? They are all inside what is called as Brahman. What is there beyond this material world is the spiritual sky. So as long as Mahavishnu is there, we take shelter of Mahavishnu. But when Mahavishnu disappears, they all remain in this Brahma Jyoti or Brahman or spiritual sky. Spiritual sky. Then again when Mahavishnu has to incarnate before the next creation has to take place. So there is some time. What is the duration of time? When Mahavishnu disappears and again Mahavishnu has to come back for the next creation, that time is the same time as the duration of one breath of Mahavishnu. The same time as the duration of time of the whole universe or of Brahma's lifetime. Same time, equal time. So that equal time, there is no activity, there is no Vishnu, there is no, Vishnu form means the incarnation. But eternally, the Supreme Lord as Narayana, as Krishna, as Vasudeva, the spiritual world always is eternally existent. Parastasmatu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha. Beyond this manifest and unmanifest material world, there is the eternal spiritual world. So that spiritual world is eternal, unlike this material world, and that world is not destroyed. When everything in this world is destroyed, yasya sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. When everything here is destroyed, that part remains as it is. It's never destroyed, the spiritual world. So in that spiritual world, the original form of the Supreme Lord as Krishna and his various other expansions as Narayana, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, so many forms of the Supreme Lord, Krishna's expansions, Ramadi Murtishu, all those forms are eternally there. Whatever we see as incarnation in this world, they are forms of the Supreme Lord originally in the spiritual world. So sometimes Narayana incarnates in this world, sometimes Krishna incarnates, sometimes Balaram incarnates, sometimes Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha incarnates. You know, Krishna comes in his original form from the spiritual world as Krishna. Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha come as Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna. The four incarnations as Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna are incarnations of Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha in the spiritual world. Sometimes Narayana comes as Narsimha or Varaha. Generally, the incarnations come from one Vishnu form, the third Vishnu form, the maintainer Vishnu. Because for the sake of maintenance, what is that maintenance? That periodically there is some disturbance created by some demons. So to kill those demons, to re-establish religious principles and to protect the devotees, that maintenance work has to be done by maintainer Vishnu. The Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, three personalities, among them one is the maintainer Vishnu. So that maintainer Vishnu is an expansion of that Padmanabha Vishnu. And Padmanabha Vishnu is an expansion of Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu incarnates from Sankarshana, from the form of Sankarshana in the spiritual world. Sankarshana is an expansion of Narayana. Narayana is an expansion of another Sankarshana. There are two Sankarshanas in the spiritual world. The first Sankarshana and the second Sankarshana expansion. So that first Sankarshana is an expansion of Balaram. And Balaram is an expansion of Krishna. So original form of the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world is Krishna. And everything and everyone expands from Krishna only. So therefore Krishna is described as Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Brahma describes this in Brahma Samhita. Govinda is the original person. All other forms of Krishna or Supreme Lord or God or incarnations are expansions of Govinda only and nobody else. So coming back to this kala or time, that time is measured in terms of one breath of Mahavishnu. But when it comes to our calculation, we calculate in terms of creation, maintenance and destruction. We always refer to time in terms of creation, maintenance and destruction. Like we have got an understanding of duration of different creatures. For example, a dog will live about 15 years. Is it 15 years? 10 years? Something like that. A cow lives about 15 years. Yeah, cow. Human beings about 100 years. Correct? And there are creatures like turtles and tortoises which live for 150 years. Banyan tree. There are banyan trees which are 5,000 years old. 5,000 years old. There are trees, banyan trees. So like that, different creatures have different duration of existence of their body, or they live for different lifespan. So we measure time based on the duration of the body, or we measure time based on the rising and the setting of the sun. Correct? That's the basis for day and night. When the sun rises, the day begins. When the sun sets, day is over, night begins. Again, next day the sun rises, we say night is over, day is beginning. So we measure based on movement of the planets. In fact, the whole astrology is based on the relative movement of the planets. Whole astrology, the science of astrology. Even astronomy, they see the different positions of the planets and locate and actually study the planetary positions, and that's how they calculate that this particular planet takes so much time to go one rotation around the earth or around the sun. Actually, there is no such thing as any one planet is fixed. All planets are moving in their own orbit. They are all forced to move. This world is called Jagat. Jagat means there is movement. There is movement. Every planet is moving. Sun is also moving. Earth is also moving. All the planets are moving. Moon is moving. Every planet is moving. So all are moving in their own orbit. But we see with respect to our position on the earth. With respect to the earth, where is that particular planet or some other planet? That's what astrology is about. And astronomy also, actually the Vedic astronomy is based on this relative position of every planet with respect to the earth. So this movement is what creates the conception of time for us. So that will be explained in detail by Maitreya in a later thing. But here Prabhupada says, time is the basic measurement of the activity of our senses by which we calculate past, present and future. We always talk in terms of past, present, future. But this past, present, future is a relative conception. It's not an absolute understanding. Just like today is 8th of April. We say today is 8th of April means present day. So 7th April, if I ask you, you'll say it is past. 9th April, tomorrow, is future. But this same 8th April, tomorrow if I ask you, 8th April, you'll say yesterday was 8th April. Correct? It becomes past. So this time, conception of time in this world is relative as far as our understanding is concerned. But actually, time is not relative. Time is not relative. Time is absolute. There is no beginning for time. There is no end of time. Just like this creation, it happened at some time, so many millions of years back. Now it will end. Then again, creation is going to take place after some more time, correct? So, where is the end of time? Time doesn't end. This creation will end. Our life will end. Brahma's life will end. But time has no end. Just like the Supreme Lord, He has no beginning and there is no end. Similarly, we as spirit soul, described in the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, there is no beginning, there is no end for the soul. There is no birth, there is no death. There is no time limitation for the soul. So anything spiritual is eternal. All spirit souls are eternal. Spiritual world is eternal. Krishna is eternal. Spiritual energy is eternal. Even the material energy is eternal. But the manifestation of the material energy as this material world, it is changing. It is sometimes manifest, sometimes not manifest. Anyway, so time is eternal and time can be understood in terms of calculation of time. As far as calculation of time is concerned, it is based on speed, change and life of a particular object. See, our understanding of time, we say if somebody goes by passenger train, very slow. Express train, it's faster. Now nowadays they have Shatabdi, Rajdhani, super fast trains. See, our conception of time is based on the speed of the train. Slow train, fast train. How do we say slow train, fast train? How much time it takes. Correct? So that is one conception of time. Then change that is happening. We say now summer is coming or already come in Chennai. It was not summer about 3 months back, it was winter. Correct? Then there was spring, then there is summer. So this change in seasons is another conception of time we have. Change in our body also is another conception of time. Changes in the body. Childhood, youth, old age. That is another conception of time. Time is passing by. Then life of a particular object. That is also duration. Duration of time. An object will remain. So lifespan, or even how long will this table last? We'll say it will last about 15 years or 10 years or 20 years. So a conception of time is there. So this is our conception of time in this world. But actually time is not dependent on something is slow or something is fast, moving fast or slow. Time is continuously flowing. In this material world, time is continuously flowing. So in this material world, the conception of time is always that which is pushing things forward, that which is deteriorating everything material. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, when Arjuna asks Krishna, show me your universal form. Show me that form into which you have entered into this universe or entered into everything material. So Krishna says, I'll show you. And he shows his universal form. Then Arjuna becomes very much disturbed, fearful. It's a very ghastly form, the form which Krishna shows, universal form which Krishna shows Arjuna. What does Krishna show? He shows past, present, future to Arjuna. So he's showing Arjuna the future, that you are calculating, how can I kill my relatives, or especially how can I kill my teacher and grandfather, respectable superiors in this battle? Better I don't fight. That's what Arjuna is thinking. But Krishna is telling, I have already killed them. He's showing in the universal form. This Bhishma, Drona, Karna, everybody is going to be destroyed. By whom? By the Supreme Lord himself. In which form? As Kala. Kalosmi lokakshayakrit. Because Arjuna asked this question, who are you? What is your mission? In the form of universal form, Vishwarupa. So Krishna is telling, Kalosmi, I am Kala, I am time. So therefore, Prabhupada says, time is also the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord. Impersonal feature. Kala is Krishna, is the Supreme Lord, is God. So Kala will destroy everything, everyone. The whole universe, all the planets, all the creatures, all the material objects, everything is destroyed by Kala. Therefore, death is also called as Kala. Kala Sarpa. A snake of time. It's a very, very poisonous snake, bites. What happens? Instant death. Instant death. There is no time for even giving some treatment. All the treatment for a person who is bitten by snake is for a snake which is not poisonous or very little poison. But a deadly poison, it is almost instantaneous. There is no time left for actually treating the patient who is bitten by snake. That kind of snake, deadly snake. Very, very, very poisonous snake. So that snake, time is compared to that snake, Kala Sarpa, in the scriptures, in some places. So that Kala is same as death. So Krishna says, Kalosmi loka kshayakrit. Kshaya means I destroy. So as Kala, Krishna destroys everything, everything. Nothing will remain as time passes by, nothing will remain. So a time will come, there will be no universe, there will be no planets, no living beings in this form that we see now, nothing will be there. Only what will be left is material energy. And the living beings, of course, as spirit soul will be there. Material energy and the spirit soul. That's all. There will be nothing else. And they'll all be inactive, inert, simply lying dormant for such a long period as Brahma's life itself. That period of time. simply lying dormant. Then we can't make out what is, anybody tries to understand what is happening. Nothing is happening. There's no activity. As Prabhupada says, time is the basic measurement of the activity of our senses. If there's no activity, we have no understanding of what is time. So, our relative time is different, eternal time is different. This is what we have to understand. Eternal time is same as God, Krishna. But impersonal, no personality. You can't see the action of time in terms of a person acting or working or doing something, activity, no. Just like Kala is acting on the gunas, can we perceive Kala acting on the gunas? Except for changes that are happening, we cannot make out. We can't see Kala with these eyes as Kala. Therefore, impersonal. Therefore, it is impersonal. Kala is impersonal. So, the Supreme Lord as impersonal Kala is active. Maya Dhyakshena Prakritihi Suyatesa Characharam. Prakriti, material nature, is working under the superintendence of Krishna or God, but that superintendence is in terms of Kala. Not personally. Personally, he is not involved. Krishna is not involved in this material world. He is not involved in anything material as the Supreme Person. So when Krishna comes to this material world, you may say that he comes to this material world, he performs so many activities, and people can even see him as Krishna, as Narsimha, as Vamana, as Rama. They can see him doing so many activities, but that is not any material activity. Material activity is taking place by Krishna's energy as Kala. So the killing of the demons is done by Kala. It's not done by Krishna. It's not done by Krishna. What Krishna does when he comes and apparently kills is Krishna delivers the demons. Krishna delivers the demons. Krishna blesses the devotees. Krishna displays his pastimes, his lila. Those are all spiritual activities. They have nothing to do with any material energy, material nature, material objects, nothing. It is happening on the spiritual dimension, on the spiritual platform. So therefore, people mistake Krishna to be an ordinary man. Or people mistake Krishna to be like a created being of this world. But no, Krishna is not created. Krishna is not a person of this world. Krishna does not do anything in the material platform. Nothing. Everything he does is completely spiritual. As far as material activities are concerned, they are simply due to Kala, another feature of Krishna, and that Kala is actually moving everything. Is moving everything through the gunas, through material nature in the form of gunas. And the gunas are working only on the elements. So this understanding we should have, that is what we will get. We have nothing to do with this Kala which is destroying everything. Our relationship with Kala is the Kala in the spiritual world. What is the Kala in the spiritual world? Nimeshardhakyo va vrajati nahi yatrapi samayaha. Brahma Samhita says, in the spiritual world, there is another conception or another type of time, Kala. Just like the description is there, Yashoda wakes up Krishna in the morning. As a small covered boy, Krishna gets up in the morning. Then he has to take the cows after bathing, and Yashoda nicely dresses him and feeds him. Then he has to take the calves or the cows and go cow herding along with his cowherd boyfriends. Correct? So then after it is evening, Krishna will come back. Yashoda will be waiting. The gopis will be waiting. So how is this happening if there is no time in the spiritual world? Spiritual world, there is no time elapsing. There is no sunshine. There is no need of sunshine, moonshine for illuminating the spiritual world. That is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Na tad bhasayate suryo, na shashanko, na pavakaha. There is no need of fire, electricity, sunshine, moonshine, not required. Because the spiritual world is always illuminated by the effulgence of Krishna. Krishna's body, there is light coming out. That's called Brahma Jyoti. That Brahma Jyoti is illuminating the entire spiritual world, and that same Brahma Jyoti is illuminating the material world also. As what? As sunshine, moonshine, electricity, fire. All this is, or even the gems. The gems also. They are emitting light because they have stored sunlight when the sunlight was falling on certain types of rock. For many, the scientists are describing this. They have done research and they found out that certain type of rock absorbs this sunlight very nicely and they transform into these precious gems. And that's what they mine, no? Diamond mine, ruby mine, all this sapphire mine. They will remove those particular type of rocks which are crystals, and then they do some polishing and it will start shining so much. And it will give out its own light. So that light is nothing but sunlight. Moonshine is also sunlight which is reflected. Fire also, the wood is storing energy from the sun. And then later on you burn that wood, when it is dry, then it will give out light and heat. That light and heat is stored in the wood by the trees or the plants absorbing the sunshine. So ultimately, sunshine is the source of light, heat, everything in this material world. But sunshine itself, how is the sun shining? Because the Brahma Jyoti is the source for the sun to shine. So ultimately, Krishna is the source of everything. This is established in the Bhagavad Gita and the scriptures. So that spiritual world, there is no need of sunshine. So then how is there day and night in the spiritual world? So that day and night is actually a sort of effect created by Yoga Maya for Krishna's pastimes. Spiritual world, there is no destruction. There is no creation. There is no material growth. There is no material growth. Everybody is eternally young. Everybody is eternally young. As far as Krishna is concerned, he is present in all ages, all forms, up to youth. From childhood to youth, all forms are there. For Mother Yashoda, he is a small boy. For cowherd boys, he is little more grown up. And for Radharani, he is youth. Youthful, Krishna. Only when it comes to material world, he manifests different forms for different pastimes. He is born as son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Then he is transferred to Nanda Gokula. Then he grows up some more time, some more. And then he goes away from Vrindavan to Mathura. And Mathura, he grows up as a prince. He has his education, and then he goes to Dwaraka as a king. And then, after 125 years, he disappears. Apparently, he dies. But Krishna does not die. Krishna has no death. He has no birth, he has no death. So he simply appears and disappears. This is the way Prabhupada describes. Appears, disappears. That's the way Bhagavatam also describes. Krishna appears and disappears. So that is in the material world. He seems to be growing. But in the spiritual world, there is no growth. There is no change. There is no separate body and soul. The person is the soul, is the form, everything. Including the devotees and Krishna. All are persons. Even the land is a person in the spiritual world. The tree is a person. Water is a person. River is a person. The house is a person. Only persons. In the spiritual world, there is no matter. There is no dead matter. This is very difficult for us to conceive and understand. We cannot imagine this, what it is like. So, everyone is serving the other. This is the conception in spiritual world. Just like this house in the material world is a dead object. So we can't say the house is serving me if I'm staying in a house, or house is giving me shelter. No. A dead object. It has no personality, it has no life. Whereas in the spiritual world, the house is a person. And that person will accommodate somebody to stay. Krishna's devotees, anybody. Any other person will accommodate. So, somebody is doing the service of being a house and giving accommodation. Somebody is doing the service of quenching the thirst by being the water. This is the spiritual world. Everything is service, devotional service, bhakti. There is only bhakti, only devotional service. And everyone is serving Krishna, and serving Krishna does not mean serving only Krishna, serving Krishna and his devotees. Serving Krishna and his devotees. Krishna is never alone. Right? So, if you serve Krishna, you serve Krishna's devotees also who are with Krishna. So, in that way, everyone is serving others. Krishna and his devotees. So, that is the spiritual world. Very difficult for us to conceive. We have to hear. We have to realize this by devotional service. So, that kala, coming to this point of kala, nimesha ardha akhya, that which is called half a moment, what we understand in this world, half a moment. That also does not nahi vrajati. It does not pass. Even half a moment does not pass in the spiritual world. Yatrapi samayaha. Time in the spiritual world, there is time in the spiritual world, but it is called ever present time. Ever present time. There is no past, there is no future, there is no time which elapses and makes somebody old, something old. There is no thing, first of all. There are only people. And people never grow old in the spiritual world. Always youthful. Always youthful. Eternally they enjoy devotional service. Eternally they serve Krishna. Eternally they are happy. Eternally they are engaged in varieties of activities. The variety also does not come because of time. Just like you may have variety of activity. Morning I will go to temple. Afternoon I will go somewhere else. Evening I will do something else. So you have variety because of time and change of activity. There, variety is not due to time elapsing. It is due to Krishna wanting to enjoy in varieties of ways. Devotees wanting to serve Krishna in varieties of ways. So there is no limitation. That's why eternal time is described as limitless and unchangeable. There's no change. There's no change due to time. Here time changes everything. Deteriorates. Everything deteriorates because of time. So there is no creation in the spiritual world. There is no destruction. There is no maintenance. There is no deterioration due to time. So eternal time is different than what we understand as time in this world. This is very important to understand. Eternal time is there in the spiritual world. In the material world also there is eternal time, but we cannot perceive that. That eternal time is constantly acting and destroying everything, is moving everything, is pushing everything forward. So this description of time that Prabhupada has given in this purport will be described in detail by Maitreya in the later verses. I'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.